All right, Shalom, Shalom. This is Brother Mayum coming at you from GMS Tampa Bay. First and foremost, I want to give all the praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ruchaha, Kudash. Double honor to the elders, apostles, great millstone, and much blessing and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth who are diligently pushing out this truth in its truth and sincerity. And I just want to do a quick video on this article I came across, and by now, man, if you don't understand who the devil is, man, who the wicked that the Bible speaks of is here on the earth today, and what who he's known as, then you a damn fool, man. And you're just lost in the sauce. The Most High has not opened up onto you wisdom. Okay, he hasn't opened up onto you knowledge. And ultimately, you're going to be caught unawares, man. Because this man, the devil, all right, Esau, Edom, all right, he's running rampant on the earth, man. Doing his will. Obviously we understand it's the will of the Heavenly Father because it's the Most High who now letteth. All right, but soon this devil is getting ready to be taken out of the way. Okay, and if you're caught with this man, if you're caught unawares, not knowing that this man is the fowler, all right, and what does a fowler do? Fowler sets out traps to catch birds, man. And you Israelites are likened onto speckled birds. All right, we all have different shades of color to us. All right, the Israelites. We know that all the nations on the earth except for Esau have shades to them, but you Israelites are likened onto a speckled bird, according to the scriptures. All right, but real quick, let me get a quick precept to start off with. Let me see if I can find it here. It's in Thessalonians. Bear with me. All right, verse 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and I'll start at verse 3. I'll start at verse 1. All right, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 1, it says, "Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Hamashiach is at hand." Verse 3, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first." Right, and that falling away that was to take place happened already. Okay, and so that was one step closer to the coming unto the day of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai returning. Okay, and that falling away was when you Israelites fell away as a nation completely. All right, you had the great diaspora. All right, you can start back, before the time of Yahushua, or not before the time of Yahushua, the time before 70 AD, when the Israelites began to flee Jerusalem and flee the surrounding areas. All right, the neighboring towns and cities. All right, after 70 AD, when a lot of you Israelites died, all right, you still had a mass exodus of Israelites from out there in the Middle East. All right, to where you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, you fled into northern, and to the north. So you went into areas like Europe. Okay, you went down to south and to places like Africa. So like the west coast of Africa, to be more specific, but throughout little other sections of Africa as well. Israelites even went as far as the east. Okay, so there was a great exodus of Israel from that land of the Middle East. Okay, and then what eventually happened through the process of time was the curses, okay, befell us, because as the scripture says, "I shall bring you to Egypt again by way of ships." And we know that Israel was never taken back into Israel, neither were they taken into Israel by way of ships to serve captivity. what that precept in Deuteronomy 28 and 68 is talking about is the captivity of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay, where they were taken into captivity by way of ships. Okay, those are the Israelites. And where were they taken? To the four corners of the earth. Okay, and the name of Israel was beaten out of them by none other than who? The devil himself, Esau, Edom, man. And the other nations as well, because they were all confederate one another, as it speaks about in Psalms 83. Okay, but that was that falling away. We forgot who we were. It was beaten out of us. Okay, we forgot our customs. Okay, we started taking on the customs of other nations. Okay, through the process of time. All right, so that falling away took place already. And it says, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worship, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Now ask yourself, who is doing that here in these last days, man? Or who has been doing that? Who's been exalting themselves above everything that is the Most High, man? Okay, who opposes himself against the Most High? Okay, who's that man of sin? Okay, and I mean in a general sense. Okay, not one individual. Or, well, Saddam Hussein. Nah, man. We're talking about in general, who committed atrocious acts against the Most High, who opposed themselves against the Most High, who lived contrary and ruled their nations contrary to the Most High. Esau, Edom, man, the so-called white man. Okay, and it said, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he is the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. Not only is this devil out in the International Space Station, okay, but this man has changed the image of who you call God and Jesus Christ, and likened it unto himself, which the scriptures tell us he would do that, man. In the Apocrypha, I believe it's Sirach, like 43. Maybe I'm mistaken. All right. Matter of fact, let me get it. Oh, first, I think it's Wisdom of Solomon 14:5. Let me see if this is it, Salakia. Okay, because this is exactly what the Pope Alexander, I believe he was the sixth. Okay, let's see. Right. This is Wisdom of Solomon 14:15. It says, for a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he hath made an image of his child soon taken away, now honored him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices, man. And you have that image of going all the way back to Serapis Crispy, okay, which, Ptolemy the first of Egypt. All right, he called himself Soter, which means savior. All right, and he exalted himself as God, as if he was the Most High. All right, and he had this bright idea that if he was going to be worshipped as God, then his son would be worshipped as the son of the Most, the son of God. So he created the temple of Serapis. Okay, and if you look at that statue in the temple of Serapis, which is still up to this day, okay, it looks like damn near 99.9% identical to who you call Jesus Christ today, man. All right, but you can fast forward into the future, with Pope Alexander, I can't remember if it was the 4th or the 6th. All right, but his one of his sons was Cesare Borgia, okay, which they did paintings of him and his son and made him likened him onto this character, Jesus, okay, which is the image that you know of today. All right, And what it said, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. Thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings, whom men could not honor in presence because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visage from afar, and made an express image of a king whom they honored, to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent as if he were present. You see? And this is what you know as today as Christianity, man. All right. But let me get one more in First Maccabees chapter 3. All right, because it proves further that these devils, they painted the images in the scriptures onto themselves. Okay. So this is First Maccabees chapter 3 and 48. It says, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. You see, the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. And that's what the so-called white man predominantly did. All right. You don't see a bunch of Chinese looking Jesus Christ around the world, do you? All right. You don't see a bunch of East Indian Jesus Christ, or Ishmaelites. Although you have people, oh, well, he was Middle Eastern. Well, he doesn't look like an Arab, I can tell you that much. The Messiah, that is. But you don't have a bunch of those being pushed out to the earth, do you? No, you have a Messiah, or an image of a Messiah that looks like who? Esau Edom, the so-called white man. All right. So that's who has exalted himself, man, and put himself into the position that people look up to him as he is a blessed one, which is why they call themselves white. All right. And I know the elder Gabar Yahawada from Hawaii went into it a couple years back, into that whole history of when that custom, came about. And I believe it was around like the 1600s. All right. When they started to call themselves white, sometime in the 1600s, if I remember correctly. And when you look up white, all right, let's look up the definition of white. Well, let's look up the etymology. Let's see what the etymology of white says. All right, because this is why they call you white and you so-called Negroes black. All right, so white is an adjective, which this is what they use. It's an adjective describing themselves, right? No, that's the white person. So it says Old English, whit, bright, radiant, clear, fair, also known as a noun, from Proto-Germanic white. It says white to shine. Okay. It says as a surname originally with reference to fair hair or complexion. It is one of the oldest in English, being well established before the conquest, meaning morally pure was in Old English, you see. So these people were calling themselves morally pure, which they're far from that, man. These are the most vile and disgusting people on the planet Earth, man. I mean, just look at their track record of what they've committed on the earth. Okay, let's go on that note. Let's get this in Hebrews chapter 12. And I got an article I want to bring out. Okay. Where is it? Right, verse 16. Hebrews 12 and verse 16. It says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. You see, so lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, man. Esau is far from morally pure, man. This man is profane. He's a fornicator, man. Okay. He is the wicked. All right. And then you see here it said Esau, as Esau. Let's get Malachi 1 and 4. That was in the New Testament. Let's go to the Old Testament. Malachi 1 and 4. I'll start at verse 3. It says, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will. And see, Esau, Edom is the same thing. Edom means bread. Esau means wasted away is he. All right. It says, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. And that's what these devils did, man. They returned and they built the desolate places, all right, because they were living in caves. They were cave dwellers, all right. They are the cavemen, man, the Neanderthals. Those were so-called white people. That wasn't everyone on the planet Earth. That was just them. They were a low estate, man, as the Lord said here, and laid in verse 3, Malachi 1 and 3, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste, man. This man's heritage was wasted. This man was grunting, braying in the bushes, as it tells us in the book of Job. Okay. Where Job even said that he disdained to put his dogs around these people, man. That's how wicked these devils are. And look at their track again. Look at their track record, man, of what they do on the earth. Okay, Esau Edom is always on the news for some wicked act that he committed against animals, man. You know, against dogs, or like 40 crocodiles and 12 birds, and all types of shit, man. If you don't believe me, man, look it up and tell me who are the ones committing these acts. Okay. But it says in verse 4, Malachi 1:4, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. And Esau Edom came into power during the Greek Empire. Okay, so they built the desolate places. It says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. Okay, so see, the Lord has indignation with these people forever, man. And although the Lord allowed them to build up, the Lord is also going to bring them down. Okay, and the Roman Empire once upon a time fell, right? As we know throughout history, the Roman Empire collapsed, but it was reborn. Okay, the Roman Empire was reborn. And guess what? Ironically, they called that time period the Renaissance. And what does the Renaissance mean? The rebirth. And I say this, with the mindset of what I was thinking back in the day when I remember studying the Renaissance period. I never asked myself what did they mean by the rebirth? What was it the rebirth of? Or why would they say the rebirth? What was being reborn? I never asked myself that. But come to find out, what was reborn was this beast, man. The beast that had the deadly wound. Let's go to Revelation 13. All right. Revelation 13, I'll just start at 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Now, for a further understanding of and a further breakdown of this beast here was having 7 heads and 10 horns, you can read Revelation 17. Okay, but this is talking about the 7 different empires that Esau Edom ruled. Okay, the so-called white man, starting with the Greeks, then you had the Romans, Germania Major, Germania Minor, the Spanish, the French, and the British. Okay, now you did have, when you go into Revelation 17, it's going to talk about an 8th that came out of the 7th. So if the 7th was Britain, who came out of Britain? That was a nation or a power that the so-called white people ruled with. America. Okay, but just to name or to tell you who this is talking about the empires of Esau, the 7 heads. And the 10 horns, when you go into the creation of the EU, which when it first started, it was known as the European Economic Community, or it was originally 10 nations. Okay, and through the process of time, Esau added more nations to it. I believe now is like 27. Okay, or maybe it's even dwindling because people leaving them left and right. But now it's about 27. But originally it was 10 nations. All right, which is those 10 horns. And even when you go into to Rome, all right, when you look into their allies and the Germanic tribes that they had deals with, all right, it was 10 different tribes. All right, you had the Gauls, the Franks, okay. You had the Luxembourg, the Alemanni. I might be butchering a couple of them, but you get what I'm saying, and that's only just a few. Okay. But that's who this is talking about. All right, it says the name of blasphemy. So let's continue. Verse 2, it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And verse 3, and this is the point going into the Roman Empire. And I saw one of his heads as if it were wounded to death. All right, and remember, the Roman Empire collapsed. Okay. If you know the history, it collapsed into 2 different entities. It became known as the Eastern Holy, or the East. It went into the East and the West. The East, Esau remained somewhat in power, all right, until it completely collapsed, because their economy completely crashed. Their dollar was worth shit, and so that Eastern Roman Empire completely collapsed. All right, they were still based in Italy. All right, but then you had a Western Roman Empire, which was based in Istanbul, all right, which is known as today, but back then Constantinople or Byzantium, all right, which was became known as the Holy Roman Empire, which is what you have today, but back in in Rome and Vatican City, but that was ruled by Israelites to begin with. Okay, Israelites, so-called Negroes, were ruling there. They were the first popes were the black, okay, so-called black. Okay, but we predominantly we know that Esau Edom, all right, his Roman Empire was wounded to death. All right, they completely collapsed. And it says, and I saw one of his heads as if it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And so you had that rebirth of the of that beast that was wounded. Okay, it was brought back to life, which is why Esau has an infatuation with the phoenix. Okay, which is a bird that rises out of the ashes. Okay, so that's who that's talking about, man. All right, the Lord allowed this man to build the desolate places. They came back, but the Lord is going to disappoint these devils, man. All right, so now that we've established that this man is the wicked, let me bring out this article. All right, because again, this is why the scriptures tell you. Matter of fact, let's get that precept real quick. Sirach 12:10 says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. You see, so just like you leave a piece of iron outside, you already know that thing's gonna rust eventually. Okay, well, just you gotta have that same mentality when dealing with these people, man, with the wicked. Okay, because they are our enemies, man. Okay, and not only Esau Edom, but the other nations as well. But Esau Edom is the worst of the nations, man. Okay, that's it. That's why I say never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness, man. So just like you know that piece of iron is gonna eventually rust, you better believe that these devils are gonna eventually do something wicked, either to you or around you, man, or get you involved in the wickedness. Okay, so now let's bring out this article, man, because this shit's just fucking. This shit had me laughing, but it just goes to show you how wicked this devil is, man. All right, so this is an article off of Al Jazeera, and it's entitled "New Zealand Food Bank Hands Out Meth-Laced Sweets." I mean, the title itself speaks volumes, man. Like, why would you do that? And why would you have candy that's filled, meth-laced, laced with meth? But again, this is that perverse man. This is that profane man, the wicked. Okay, the one that seeks to destroy, to ruin people's lives, man, because he's a miserable fuck himself. Okay, and this is ultimately why the Lord is gonna jack this man up, man, because this dude don't show no mercy to nobody. All right, let me get this real quick in James chapter 2, I think around 16. No, is it James chapter 2? James chapter 2, right? Okay, James chapter 2 verse 13. Salakia. James chapter 2 verse 13, it says, for he shall have judgment without mercy that hath showed no mercy, and mercy rejoices against judgment. And why does mercy rejoice against judgment? Because you catching a break. That's what mercy allows, man. The mercy of the Lord allows you to catch a break from judgment, man. Whether it just alleviates the judgment or you completely escape judgment, which is what the elect is hoping for in these last days. But you Edomites, man, you're going to have no mercy. It says, for he shall have judgment without mercy that has showed no mercy, man. These devils ain't show no mercy, man. What kind of wicked shit is this? You handing out fucking sweets laced with meth, man. You should be put to death for this shit, man. But what? These people who rule that gave this shit out pleaded the fifth. Oh, I don't know how that got in there. And they still, guarantee you, still holding their positions, still not being prosecuted. Man, you should be put to death, man, doing some wicked shit like that. And this is nothing out of the ordinary of this devil, man. This is what this devil does. He presents to you something sweet, all right, a sweet deal. But really, it's meant to fuck you over, man. Just look at what he did to the so-called Native Americans, man, with smallpox. Okay? Look what he did to the so-called Negroes with the Tuskegee experiments. Okay? Look at what he did to the so-called Negroes with sickle cell, man. Okay? And syphilis, which I believe syphilis was in the Tuskegee experiments, where he was testing out vaccines laced with syphilis, seeing how it would how it would run rampant in the so-called Negro communities, man. This man is a complete devil, man, and this is not the first time he's ever done. He's just doing this shit with candies, but this man has been doing this for years, man. Just look at what he did 4 years ago, 2020. What did he come out with? Something that you thought was a sweet deal, but now it's starting to come out that shit wasn't as sweet as you thought. There was some other shit in there that was fucking you up, man. People started dropping like flies, man. Okay? And this is the same man you call your leaders. This is why the scriptures told us in 2 Thessalonians, man. He who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Matter of fact, I don't think I even brought that part out. Let's get back to that 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. All right, we read verse 3. We read verse 4, showing himself that he is God. It says, remember, verse 5, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things? And now you know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. And this is the time where this devil is being revealed. This is why the Spirit is so heavy on exposing these devils, man. And anybody who's aligned with him in wicked, man. Okay, and that includes our people as well. All right, but it says, verse 7, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. The mystery of iniquity was talking about Esau, Edom. And why was it already working? Because during this time, the Roman Empire was still in power, man. Okay, and it goes on to say, only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And the Most High is the one who ruleth in the kingdom of men. Okay, so what did he do? The Lord allowed this devil to rule. Until what? Until he be taken out of the way. And this is now the time where we're beginning to see the Lord getting ready to take this devil out of the way, man. And it says, verse 8, and this is telling you the time that we in. And then shall that wicked be revealed, which is what's happening, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. And how is the Lord consuming him with the spirit of his mouth? Through his prophets, who he's giving his word onto. And the prophets are out here speaking and exposing this devil, man. Prophesying of the downfall of this devil, man. Okay? And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Because when Yahushua returns, man, this man is going to be destroyed. Okay? He's going to be brought down. He's going to be slapped with chains. Okay? Beaten with a rod of iron. So let's read a little bit on this article, man. Because this shit's, even though it's funny, but this shit's crazy, bro. I mean, they have these little scares every year for Halloween. They tell your kids, oh, parents, watch out with their, sift through their candy, make sure you don't see no poke holes, and make sure everything looks copacetic. But I mean, this motherfucker here was deliberately handed this out. It says hundreds of packets containing pineapple candies filled with a potentially lethal dose of the drug were distributed. And look at this, a charity in New Zealand has mistakenly distributed. How do you mistakenly distribute? So what were the pineapple candies laced with meth doing there in the first place? If they were mistakenly handed out, that means they had to have had them knowingly. If it was a mistake, because if they didn't know it was there, then it wouldn't have been a mistake. They would have just been doing business as usual. I was like, oh, somebody must have fucked with this shit. But no, they mistakenly sent out the wrong ones. Oh, damn, we sent out the wrong ones. We got the good candies here still, but we sent out the ones with the meth. You see? These devils did this shit on purpose, man. This shit wasn't no accident, man. This was mistakenly done. They sent out the wrong shit. That means they had them. But why would they have them? It goes to show you, man, this dude is a fucking devil, man. This dude is wicked as all hell. You can't trust this fucking devil, man. And if you do, you're a fucking idiot, man. It says and then they say it was a charity, man. So these people were probably handing these candies out for free, but they mistakenly gave out the ones with meth. Come on, bro. You gotta really understand what this is saying, man. These people are fucking wicked, bro. It says a charity in New Zealand have mistakenly distributed pineapple sweets laced with a potentially lethal dose of methamphetamine. The Auckland City Mission Food Bank apologized. And see, they just come out, oh, we sorry. Apologized on Wednesday for handing out the sweets. Police are working to track down 400 people who might have consumed the sweets. See, the police aren't working to track down who did this. They're just tracking down where the people are. It says, which were donated by an unknown person and have said there is no suggestion of wrongdoing by the charity. No, there's no wrongdoing by the charity. And then now, all of a sudden, the person who donated is unknown. But wait a minute, I thought it came from this charity. If they mistakenly handed out the packages with the meth, that means they still had other packages that were clean candies. Right? So you mean to tell me an unknown source gave you all this candy and said, here, distribute this among people, and you trusted this? You didn't test them? Come on, bro. You can't sit here and tell me you don't know who did this. An unknown person have said there is no suggestion of wrongdoing by the charity. Of course there's no suggestion of wrongdoing. Because Esau's white, man. This is the white man. He's as innocent as it comes. Hey, man, the Lord don't worry, man. Matter of fact, let me get this quick for yourself. Psalm 73. Let's start at verse. Let's start at verse. Let's start at verse 3. It says, For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. See, there ain't no bands in these people's death, man. They're not getting locked up. Okay, they're not being bound. Okay, in their death it says, but their strength is firm. They're not in trouble as other men. Neither are they plagued like other men. Now, let this have been a Baptist church here in America, full of you Negroes handing out candies, and y'all would have mistakenly handed this out, because Esau probably would have given them to you and say, here, hand this out in the community. We're donating some candy, right? And Jake go and hand out, they wouldn't have said there is no suggestion of wrongdoing by the charity. They would have said there's a full-on investigation on this Baptist church on why and where they got this candy from and who distributed. It would have said donated by the pastor. It would have been somebody. It would have been a Jake's picture as the thumbnail for this article, man, and locked up. But see, because this is an Edomite people, okay, these people, the person who donated is unknown, and there is no suggestion of wrongdoing by the charity. They didn't know. They were just handing out candy. But why did they mistakenly hand out the candy then? If there was no wrongdoing in the part of the charity, right? Why did the article say they mistakenly handed it out if there was no wrongdoing? That means they knowingly had candy that was laced with meth, and they mistakenly handed that out instead of the ones that were actually clean. That means they knew about it, but there's no wrongdoing. See, these people ain't as trouble as other men. Let that have been you Israelites, man. One of you Negroes or Latinos, man. One of these Catholic food banks, man. Y'all would have been caught up, man. You would have been toast. They would have came up with, out of the 400, they would have came out with 398 white children that overdosed on meth, and your ass would have been buried under the prison for 398 counts of murder. Involuntary manslaughter. Probably would have got 30 years to life. But these Israelites, there is no suggestion of wrongdoing. It says 3 people. See, look, out of the 400, 3 people, a child, a teenager, and a charity worker, sought medical attention after tasting the boiled sweet. So, see, some unknown bystander that was volunteering his time got caught up thinking he was going to be slick. Oh, you suck on this candy, and his dumbass got caught up, man. Why? Because he trusted. But his bosses, the ones who told him, yeah, no, don't grab those boxes, grab these. They knew exactly what they were doing. Okay? It said none are currently in hospital, Detective Inspector Glenn. See, so no one died. No one died. But let that have been Jake. All all damn near all 400 would have died, man. It says Detective Inspector Glenn Baldwin from Auckland Police told reporters the sweets contained methamphetamine at 300 times the dose, but yet these three people, a child and a teenager, didn't die at 300 times the dose that someone would usually take, making them potentially lethal, according to the New Zealand Drug Foundation. Now, you see these people strung out on meth out on the highways, man. These people are superheroes. So you mean 300%? By superheroes, I mean these people get hit by cars and they still running. They get tased and shot and they still taking off, man. So you mean you're telling me 300 times the dose and these people didn't die? They didn't start foaming at the mouth and seizing up? Come on, man. According to the New Zealand Drug Foundation, it says Ben Burks-Ang, a foundation spokesman, said disguising drugs in everyday goods is a common drug smuggling technique and warned that more of the candies might be in circulation. So this nigga here is telling you, man. He's exposing himself. He's just trying to wash his hands clear. He's there might be still some candies out there, but he knows goddamn well, man. It said disguising drugs in everyday goods is a common drug smuggling technique. Come on, man. Who comes out and says that after their charity just handed out boxes of meth-laced candy, man? What he's doing is he's trying to absolve himself of all guilt. Because they know goddamn well that they did that shit on purpose, man. This is old tactics of the devil, man. So the sweets are estimated to be worth about 1,000 New Zealand dollars or $600 each. God damn. It says adding to the evidence that the donation was accidental rather than a deliberate attack. See? There you go. So now they got to value the price of the candy at $600 each. It's 600 US dollars for 1,000 New Zealand dollars for each piece of candy. To suggest, well, why would we hand out candy like that? Those are some expensive candy. Nah, nigga, you handed the candy out for free because you knew this shit was meth laced and you trying to kill some people, man. You're trying to reduce the population. Come on, man. You getting this? You got that agenda, Mr. Burks-Ang, from your bosses, man. Says authorities suspect a cross-border smuggling. Come on, man. New Zealand is a fucking island. Cross-border smuggling case gone wrong. Come on. So if it was gone wrong, if it was supposed to go right, what was supposed to happen? A criminal investigation is underway. You need to investigate the whole organization, man. These people are smuggling the drugs, man. They looking to kill people, and look where they got the candy from. How about that? But yeah, man. just wanted to do a video on that, man, because I thought this shit was hilarious when I seen that title. And as I read a little bit of this article, I was like, man, these people are just guilty as all can be, but just absolving their guilt, man. And it just goes to show you, man, who these devils are, man. All right, these are the people that are spoken about in the scriptures to be known as the wicked, man. All right, the devil himself, the liar, the slanderer, the deceiver. That's all devil means. You go into the etymology of the word devil is diabolos in the Latin, and that's what it means, a deceiver, the slanderer, man. And the greatest deceiver and slanderer in the world is Esau Edom, man. So, hey, with that, I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachah HaKodash. Double honor to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, and much blessing and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth who are diligently pushing out this truth and this truth and sincerity. With that, I say Shalom.